Hello and welcome back to another episode. And today we actually hit the 7-day mark for the $30,000 Japan trip challenge. So we've basically turned $50 into a certain amount of money into listed inventory. So what I'm going to do today, I'm not going to make you wait to the end of the video. I'm actually going to go straight into it. So, are you back? Where have you been? All right, I've got rid of him. He's back from his trip overseas. A lot of people have been asking for the Octopus. And unfortunately, he's been away. He just, like you said, he just got back today. He's been overseas. He told me he was going to Canada to overthrow the government. And unfortunately, so I think he may have actually achieved one of his world domination aspirations for once. So I do have my trusty rake here on the ground just in case he does come back. Grumpy Granny does tell me on numerous occasions that the best thing to get rid of the octopus is a rake or a pitchfork or a torch. All those different things. So I've got my trusty rake down here, so in case he comes back, we can take care of it. So today, before I got rudely interrupted by the boss, is that we've actually hit the 7-day mark for this challenge. So we started on the 1st of January, we're now the 7th of January. So what have we turned the $50 initial investment into inventory-wise? So my plan for probably the first 3 months of this challenge is to stockpile as much money in inventory as I can. I don't want to draw a salary per se. I don't want to draw, I do want some sort of slush fund, and I will leave a bit of a slush fund there. I do need to work out the details of how I'm going to do that. However, I'm going to reinvest that into new inventory from that perspective. One, if you're new to the channel, I do apologise. I do let you know that the octopus, I think he might be sleeping over there actually. No, well, at least we know where he's gone. Maybe the rake worked too well. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Minion Joe or Josh, whatever you want to call me, and I'll answer to anything. If you read my comment sections on the previous videos, a lot of people call me different things. So, like I said, more than welcome to call me anything you like. I work for the Disgruntled Octopus. I'm his front man. Just think for Squid Games, more of a octopus games. So I'm the front man without the cool mask and the Netflix series. So what we're doing this year, we've been reselling on eBay, the Octopus and me, since about 2006, 2007, quite heavily since 2021. I quit my full-time job, went full-time. Unfortunately, and you've probably seen other YouTube videos where they are disclosing their figures, I didn't make enough money to make it worthwhile to quit my full-time job. So I went back to my full-time job, which is fantastic because now I'm on a contract opposed to actually being locked in. So I can pick and choose where I want to go. And that's what I've always said from the start, is that if you're not happy with where your job is, look for another job. Don't necessarily rely on reselling as the fail-safe. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not going to make you millions and millions of dollars. But however, like me and other people on YouTube are probably going to disclose some things that you can look out for and hopefully source. I'm going to talk about a couple of things today that I've actually brought into this challenge through cheating, and I will touch on a little bit on that in a little second, which has excelled this challenge. So what I'll do is I'll get straight to the numbers. We did start off with $50. With that $50, we spent $20 on Treasure X, which you can see behind here. So these were actually listed for $50 each plus postage. We also bought 2 Switch games, Just Dance 22 and the Japanese drum game. So don't hold anything against me. I butchered it last time when I tried to speak about the Japanese drum game. I'll probably flash it up on the screen, but I'm notoriously lazy with editing, so you probably won't get it. That left me with $10, so $20 for the Treasure X, $10 each for the Switch games, $10 I bought with 2 Warhammer books. This is where it comes into the cheating part, right? So depending on what you want to look at, it's either a $50 challenge or a $200 challenge. However, I'm looking at it as a $50 challenge where I actually consigned myself some books. So we used $10 out of that, the remaining $10 to buy some Warhammer books, and I have discussed that in a previous video. My mum and my dad, which are affectionately known as Nana Octopus and Poppy Octopus, I'm not too sure. Maybe he's adopted them or they've adopted him, I'm not too sure. But Mum and I went out on Saturday night. They got here Friday night, and went and picked up a big lot of these Warhammer books. These are the Warhammer 40k Legend collection, and these are stories or books in the Warhammer realm of space and all these different things. I'm not a very big gamer in the sense of a tabletop. I love selling board games, as you can see behind me. I do have some in that blue tub over there. Codexes, those little books you can probably see on the top. My daughter, my 7-year-old and my 10-year-old are actually doing the $50 challenge themselves. So my 7-year-old went and bought some Codex 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragon books. They normally go for about $50 each. She's paid $50 for the 3 of them. So I've listed them at $150. The way that the challenge works for them is that they will get face value. So I'll pay the tax, I'll pay the postage, I'll pay the eBay fee. So if they pay $50 and they sell something for $150, they get the $150 to reinvest or whatever it is. With my 7-year-old, that's probably going to go to Robux. But and I think I've said in a previous video, my 10-year-old, she did a challenge herself where she started off with a $10 lot of Dr. Seuss books, ones in the one of those collections. This is at the height of those books being banned or unpublished or depublished. I'm not too sure what the proper terminology is. In the space of a school term, she went from $10 to a $800 iPad. She just constantly kept flipping things. So she did go from that Dr. Seuss book, she sold it for $50. Then she bought some, I think it was Switch games or 3DS games, keep flipping until the point that we literally, Olivia and I walked into the Apple store and she paid cash for an iPad. I don't have an iPad, I've got a piece of paper. But, like I said, it is achievable. It's primarily me focused in the sense of saying, hey, look, I will, do you want to go pick up these Warhammer books, or do you want to go pick up, a Switch game, or do you want to go pick up Skylanders and all these different things? I normally source for them. The caveat for them to do the challenge is they actually have to come with me on the trip. So either that's through a thrift store, or we go through Facebook Marketplace, or Gumtree. I haven't sourced anything off Gumtree, so I'm not too sure why we're talking about that. So going back to our challenge, I did cheat a little bit. So going back to what I said with Mum is that I fronted myself $150 because he was out of the picture, right? The Octopus was out of the picture. I'm in control of the finances, so I fronted myself $150 for the challenge, in the purpose that once some of the other products sold, and we did have a Just Dance game sell 2 or 3 days ago, I'm not too sure now, you'd have to go back to previous videos, that what would happen is that those profits would eventually pay off those $150. So the books, the Warhammer books you're seeing here, and the 2 codexes that I've got listed, the 2 codexes I thought were going to sell quite quickly, so I invested those as $5 each into that remaining $10. I actually made a mistake there. I should have actually invested these books. So where do we stand? And hopefully this is not confusing, because it makes perfect sense in my brain that's completely damaged and got all these different voices and carrying on. So I fronted myself $150. Sold the Just Dance game for, just say $25 for ease of use. I'm just going to use round numbers. It was like $26.33. So we're just going to use round numbers for ease of use. So out of that $25, I had listed 5 out of this pile at a cost of goods for $5 each. So I didn't list them all, and they were in the draft bank, or the remaining 3 are in the draft bank that haven't been paid for. So I'm not front loading the store in the sense that if I haven't actually fronted that money or paid, if something hasn't sold to pay for those stock to go into the store, I'm not bringing it in. So I'm kind of massaging the rules and making it a bit, Josh-esque. The Octopus and I will probably have a chat later with my annual performance report. If I come back tomorrow with big lashes across my face and being little tentacle marks and all those different things, you could probably work out how my performance review went. So going back to it, so the Just Dance sold for $25. That let me go back into 5 books. Since maybe yesterday, the first of these books sold, and one sold for $40 plus postage. So out of that $40, and I haven't promoted anything of these items. So out of that $40, I had $35 left. So then I put another, quick math, 7 books in, and since then another 2 books have sold. So long story short, I'm pretty sure there's 26 books all up. Currently I've got 3 books left. So we've only got 3 books left of the stack. These are the stack that in entirety. So like I was saying before, this is what you need to look out for if you're in the thrift store. They do go, one of them actually went to America, which kind of gave me bonus points in the sense that, and I did talk about it yesterday. If you're in Australia, like you've got My Post Business. So My Post Business gives you like a discount. So if you're in America, just think of Pirate Ship. Keep thinking of Pirate Bay. Even if I say that, I might have the feds chasing me. Pirate Ship, it's kind of like Australia Post from that way. And if you are from Canada and you are watching from Canada, our mail's not turned back on to come to you guys yet. So I am having a few people waiting on their Skylanders that watch my videos. They are coming. I've got them all packed and ready to go. And just be very mindful that probably the next week or so, I've been told. Not too sure. Don't hold that on me. But that's what I've been told through my official networks. That I was told on the 1st of January as well. So who knows on who. And since this guy's overthrown the government, there could be anything going on. So getting to the figures now. I just got beaten up by a bit of a draw that I'm building as well. So like I said, is that we currently have $64.99, which is in the Codex book I told you about originally. So $20 in the other Codex book, which doesn't sell very good. So I know I've discussed Warhammer and Dungeons & Dragons and Codex and books and all these different things. If I say Codex and you don't know what I'm talking about, it's actually the rule book for games such as Dungeons & Dragons or Warhammer that have a Codex, right? So I don't have one, I can't really give it to you at the moment, but a codex may give you the rules and the background of a certain faction. If you think of like, what are they? Someone, just say the Daemons, their faction would have a book, or the Trinids or something. I'm not too sure like that. You can see I don't play it. I like selling it. I know how to sell it. I'm quite... I'm one of those people that kind of dig deep into these things, learn the niche enough to, if someone asks me a question, I can probably fake it until you make it. ChatGPT's probably taken me out of a job by now. All right, hopefully the audio is better now. I've just realized that the DJI mic wasn't working. So I can't recommend the DJI Mic 2 in any capacity. If you watch my previous videos, I've had no end of troubles. I've had, being on lives with Grumpy Granny and the volume just completely cutting out. When I record, it only records on one channel, so basically it was only coming through one AirPod or one headphone if you're watching that way. So what I was talking about with the codex, just look at it from a sense of game rules. I know you could delve deeper into that and talk a little bit further into that, but generally speaking, it's the game rule books. Not all of them are worth big money. They do come out on a regular basis in the sense of 2 or 3 years. And I'm pretty sure the Story Merchant told me that a couple of days ago. The ones that I've got here are the latest versions. So I've got them listed at $65, one for $20 because I think it's a previous version. So they do drop quite heavily. The ones you do need to look out for are probably the first editions or the vintage ones, like really sought after collector pieces, opposed to actually being used as game guides per se. Next, we're going on to the remainder of this stock that we have literally paid for, so in the sense that not the 3 that are outstanding, so keep keep up. Hopefully you're catching along. So $64.99 for the codex, $19.99, this is always plus post, $19.99 plus the other codex, which is a previous version. The remainder of the books that we currently have paid for are $884.77. We do have the Treasure X at $439.92. and the other Switch game that I discussed a little bit earlier, about $74.99. So we currently have a total of $1484.66 plus $99.97 in the 3 books that we haven't paid for yet, in the sense that once something sells, we use that profit for that $5 and go from there. I am picking up some manga on the weekend, so I'm on Saturday, and I want you to do a job for me. I want you to, especially if you're brand new with reselling, have a look at the eBay sold listings if you don't know how to do that. And majority of the people that watch this video know how to do that. I want you to go through and have a look at Devil May Cry 3 manga. So this is what I'm picking up on the weekend. I'm picking up volume 1 and 2 for $20 with about 10 or 15 other manga books. Those other manga books are probably going to sell for probably $10 each plus post. I probably will put them in a block, maybe $50 plus post. Just get rid of them from that way. Have a look at Devil May Cry 3 manga and put it down in the comments what you found. So what I've said before is actually, and I know other resellers have said this as well, is that, and I got this from the auction professor. I absolutely love the auction professor. If you become an expert in your niche, you know what to charge for, you know what people to pay for. And if you go through the Devil May Cry 3 manga, you will see some people have sold it for $24.99 postage Australian, and other people have sold it for $120 Australian. Those $125 probably, people know the rarity, know the collectability of it. Devil May Cry 3, made by the people that made Resident Evil, very big cult following. Used to love the games, particularly 1. After that, I did away with it because it was pretty crap, but it does have a cult following. So, Castlevania manga, there's a lot of people who don't realise that the Castlevania manga is out there as well. That's very expensive. So, there are certain books, 99.9% of manga is like Skylanders now, right? If you've heard of the manga, there's a good chance it's trash and it's complete garbage. So, stuff like Demon Slayer, my beloved Assassination Classroom, which is, the Octopus, Jujutsu Kaisen, all these different things. And if you're in the anime space, I know Uncle Wayno's probably rolling his eyes, calling me a nerd, and probably other worse things. But if you're in that space, anime, manga, the ones that you've heard of are generally worth nothing. So do your comps before you pick it up, because I have seen thrift stores like Vinnie's and Salvos down here, depending on the book, they're selling for $10 plus. So you can get the diamonds in the rough. I just want to make a little point for the figures, is that I haven't actually sourced anything of this from a thrift store. This is primarily 100% through Facebook Marketplace. I'm trying to limit my exposure to the thrift stores this year, and I have talked about this before. I will be delving into the church op shop once a month, because that's a place that's cheap as chips. It's dirt cheap, not necessarily stuff that I would procure on a regular basis. And I have said before is that church op shop is actually how I got into Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons, because I picked up a whole bunch. I'll take credit for it. It was my mum. She just went down and goes, "So what about these?" Because what she's seen is that, and I have said in previous episodes, I love Ghostbusters, I love spooky stuff, I love Halloween. She picked up these books and it had skeletons on it, and she goes, "Oh, what about these? These look cool." And they were literally first edition Warhammer books from the late 80s or early 90s. I can't remember what they were. I paid, that was fill a bag for $5. I think I had like 5 or 10 books. I can't remember from memory. This is going back 18 months ago. Went to the counter, they said, look, it's fill a bag for $5, or you can have these books for, there was $2, because it was only 10 books. I said, no, that's fine. So I gave her $20. I didn't realise how much they would go for, because like I said, I hadn't done much exposure. I just, watched, a little bit of booksellers, and knowing like Stranger Things and all those different things, and that's probably what triggered the price of these things. Went back to the car whilst Mum was walking around the church op shop, took some photos, really bad photos on the front seat of my car. Used my beloved photo room, not sponsored, but if you are looking at zhuzhing your photos up per se, I definitely recommend photo room. Infinitely easier than setting up your lights and your white backing and all these different things. I just use a window, take some photos, photo room, and you can't tell the difference. Went back to the car, took some photos. Then we drove 5 minutes to the next op shop, because Mum wanted to go out for a couple of, we left at 8 o'clock. By the time she finished in that church op shop, we were at about 9 o'clock. The next op shop opened, or the next thrift store opened, about 5 minutes around the corner. Before I got there, I've sold $380 worth of these books. So that was for 2 books. She, as much as I bag her, picking up the most random stuff, because she'll always say, "Hey Joshua, what about this?" She went to Salvos, and then she found a whole bunch of other tabletop codex books and all these different things. Pathfinder and all these different things. So it's paid a little bit higher, like White Dwarf and magazines like that. Not high value in the sense by themselves, but I had a stack like this, plus Pathfinder, books, Pathfinder mats for the table. I think I walked out $30 and probably about $700 worth of stock from Salvos. I was quite happy to give, the church op shop a lot more money, but Salvos and Vinnie's and me have like a very love-hate relationship. I think that I have been, and I have heard stories where people, less fortunate and have genuine needs have been turned away by these organisations because they're only money hungry. So that's pretty much my stance. So I'm more than happy to not take advantage of, however, less frequent Salvos and Vinnie's Church Hop Shop. They're doing some fantastic stuff for women's shelters, and they're doing some stuff for for children in Africa that have obviously needs in that respect as well. So if I do go on a monthly basis to the Church Hop Shop, if I don't find anything, because it's very selective, it's only things that are donated pretty much through through the church, I'll just normally give them $5 or $10 just from that perspective. I know it's not big, and I'm not trying to big note myself, but like I said, it's my monthly visit, and going from that way. Going back on the tangent, I've literally lost my track. So we're up to 1584.63. I took some medicine today, so I'm more focused. Yesterday was a bit of a shit fight, to say the least. If you go back to yesterday's video, you can see what I'm like when I'm not medicated. Today I'm a bit more clear. I'm just I'm a bit more excited because I'm actually picking up something tonight, and I will talk about that in a future video. So we have 1584 in stock because I owe myself, or I owe the Octopus, $150. I've taken $150 out of the forward earnings, and I don't know if you can do that, but this is how I'm rolling it. Like I said before, this is, crazy voice Josh. So what we do currently have in stock is $1,434.63. So I think that's phenomenal for the week. And this is not plucking numbers out my backside and all these different things. This is the market rate for things. So the way I price these books is that some of these books, and one that I said earlier, it's gone to America, is that I'm looking primarily at Australian sold comps. Some of these books have sold in America, and you could probably look at yourself, in the last 90 days for $127, all these different things, right? So secondhand, some of them are brand new, some of them are secondhand, depending what it is. I did have someone reach out to me on eBay yesterday asking me if it was this particular book he was after. This is what happens when you feed birds. They keep, flying by, thinking it's a drive-through or something along lines of that. So he did reach out to me asking me if it was a specific book, because these books in their iterations, they're normal paperbacks per se, can go for a couple $100. But a lot of people just want to read them and get them quite cheap. Like I was saying, is I've actually listed them lower than the Australian sold prices, in the sense that if there's only one available and one sold for $70, I've listed it at about $65, or I've listed it at generally $5 under the market price. So these figures I've told you here, they're very close to what the sold listings are saying. I'm trying to move stock as quickly as possible, and this is what you need to be very mindful of when you do a challenge, is that you don't want to be holding on to stock. Get it in, get it out, and recycle the cash. That I don't really want to be holding on to these books forever and a day. Those Treasure X things, I do think that will stay for a bit longer, in the sense that they're waiting for the right buyer. Probably they're a good buyer, and like I was saying before, there's about $440 worth of stock for there. However, if I was to reset the $50 challenge, I would have grabbed them, but I wouldn't have basically focus too heavily on them. And I have said in previous videos, if you are doing challenges of this, if you are doing reselling from commencing from start, I really think that $50 to $200 mark, take that out. If you haven't got $50 to waste, or you haven't got $200 to waste, you really, really, really need to reconsider your reselling. I know a lot that probably goes against everyone's, gels against everyone what they're saying. However, these free challenges you see where people do like curbside collection, all these different things. I've never come across a curbside collection at all, let alone found something in the curbside collection. I've been lucky in the sense that I've gone to thrift stores. When I was doing this full time, I would spend 8 or 9 hours at a thrift store, pick up clothing, which I absolutely hate. I loathe clothing with a passion. I love video games, I love board games, I love Skylanders. If you can't get over it, if you're new here, get used to saying Skylanders, because strap yourself in. So I was going to thrift stores picking up stuff that I wasn't interested in. I didn't like particular listing, I didn't like photographing. All this stuff, I love it because it's aesthetically pleasing to me. And that's might be something wrong with my head, which is a lot of people have said. And I've been diagnosed in the comments before. But I think that you really need to have a platform to move from that $50 to $200 mark. As we can see, if you want to call it the $50 challenge, if you want to call it the $200 challenge, I don't particularly care. We're going to go with the $50 challenge, but that $150 will be paid back probably in the next week or so. But like going back to what I was saying is that you need a platform to move off. If you are starting with $50, like I was saying before, use that $50 as if it's the last $50 you have in your wallet, or the last $50 that you have available to you. I would have purchased, or this particular lady, the one I mentioned in a couple of videos ago, sounding very, very ghost-like. If she was willing to separate, I might have paid $10 a book, knowing that I could flip them quite quickly, but she wanted to sell them as a bulk lot. I wasn't passing up that opportunity to exponentiate this challenge, that in the sense of that, we are using this money to go to Japan. Like, it's not like an ego push or look at me, how fantastic I am, and all these different things. If I passed this up, I could have been waiting in mid-March to actually sell one of these Treasure X things, and constantly holding myself up from that way. So I did make the executive decision to bend the rules a little bit, regardless which way you think of or otherwise, to go out and buy these with the stipulation or the caveat that they will be paid back within probably a fortnight. Like I was saying, the next book will well and truly pay for the 3 that are currently sitting in my draft folder. From then, future sales will actually start paying off that debt. And I dare say that maybe 3 or 4 books, generally when I list things, they don't have any views for a couple of days unless it's Skylanders. These have got 15, 20 views on them already, and I've only listed them about 6 hours ago. So I'll be quite surprised if I don't wake up tomorrow and another 6 or 7 are sold, and that's well and truly paid for the $150 plus some. We'll have some decent money in the kitty, then we can start shopping again. I did have a few people ask me about doing thrift videos. I don't particularly like doing sourcing videos. I don't like doing thrift videos. I suppose I'm quite extroverted in the sense I love talking to people. I just don't like shoving a camera in their face. I don't like the GoPro setup and walking into yard sales and saying, hey, look, I'm a YouTuber, all these different things. Just, to me, it's an invasion of privacy. Like, I will try and do it sneaky and all these different things, but more often than not, like, I really need to go to the gym and pump up a little bit, because my hand will go all these different things. Then I'll try and hide the camera, and my past attempts of thrift videos have been less than satisfactory, to say the least. But if you do like this content, and I apologise for not picking up the microphone at the start, I'm not going to film 10 minutes. I'll just increase the volume on the editing. If you bared with me for this part, thank you very much. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to try and get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the week. That's my running joke. I'm not very funny. I had a few people tell me one of my jokes that I said last night fell flat. However, if you share this video, if you like this video, that helps in the algorithm, right? It doesn't cost you anything other than showing more people. The YouTube revenue, I'm in 2 minds what to do with that, in the sense of, do I redirect that into the Japan challenge? I don't want to. I want to purely keep it from an eBay perspective, and it's not much, right? So I'm literally probably about $80, $70, $90, $100, depending on how many videos I do and what the quality of the videos are, per a month. I normally use that to pay for my streaming software, Evmux, which is Grumpy Granny and I do a podcast. That's $50 a month. And then the others I use to upgrade my equipment. So I bought a new webcam, all these different things. So that YouTube money is going to be in isolation, in a sense. I'm not going to keep that in the challenge. However, I might use that to fund some activities, like kind of a stretch goal if you're from the Kickstarter sense. Fund some activities for the kids in Japan when we go there next year. So I might use that. So like I said, if you want to support the channel, you don't need to leave super chats, you don't need to leave super thanks, you don't need to buy anything from my eBay store, which is in the description if you're that way inclined. If you want to know what I'm selling, have a look at my description. But like I said, that what you can do would be phenomenal is to actually like it, subscribe, share it, let other people know. I'm trying to, and a lot of people on YouTube do have the best interest in heart, right? So we're not necessarily trying to bullshit you and pull over the wool over your eyes. I'm transparent as I can be. But like I was saying, is that just do your own research, and that's all I ask for. But anyway, that's enough for us this week, or today actually. So we're doing a video a day. We'll see you next time. Bye.